Hi everyone! Welcome to this tutorial on integrating weather data using Farmonaut API. Today we will explore various weather data endpoints available in the API documentation. By the end of this session, you will have a comprehensive understanding of how to retrieve current, historical, and forecast weather data, as well as how to obtain weather data based on specific coordinates. Additionally, we'll see how to generate graphs showing weather trends. Let's get started. Now, we will see how we can integrate the weather data using the API. So, there are multiple weather data endpoints available in the API doc. We will review them one by one. First, let's see how we can get the present weather data. There is an endpoint known as getPresentWeather. We have to use this endpoint, and in the body, we need to pass just the UID and the field ID for which we want the weather data. We will click on the Send button, and let's see what response we get. Yeah, we have got the response. It will tell the coordinates, longitude and latitude, the weather, temperature, feels like minimum temperature, max temperature, pressure, humidity, visibility, wind speed, clouds, and all these kinds of things, including country, sunrise, and sunset. You will get all these details, and you can use them in your application. Now, we will see another weather-related endpoint. Suppose you want to get the past weather data, then there is another endpoint known as getHistoricalFieldWeather. The things we need to pass are the UID, field ID, and the number of days you want it for. Suppose we have to pass the number of days as 5. Yeah, we have got the request, so for the past 5 days, we will get the humidity, max wind, temperature, pressure, station wind degree, wind speed, and all this data. This is how you can get the historical weather data. Now, if you want to get the future data, like the weather forecast, we have another endpoint called getForecastWeather. We just need to pass the UID and the field ID. We will use the getForecast endpoint. The number of days is not required here. We'll click on Submit Send and we will get the response. Latitude, longitude, time zone, daily weather forecast data, sunrise, sunset, moonrise, temperature, day and max, feels like, and summary. Expect a day of partly cloudy with clear spells, pressure, humidity, wind speed, and daily weather data. There are multiple things you can get as a forecast. This DT is like the timestamp of a particular day. Now, we will see how you can get the weather forecast data by latitude and longitude. Suppose you want to fetch the forecast data for a particular latitude and longitude. You can do that easily. You just have to search for getForecastWeather from lat and long in the API doc. Use that endpoint, and you have to pass the UID, latitude, and longitude of the place. We will use this latitude and longitude mentioned in the API doc for this demo. Paste it in the body, and then click on the Send button. You can see that we have received this forecast data based on latitude and longitude. It will be similar to the previous one, which we saw in getForecastWeather data. It will give the forecast data for different days in the future and details related to sunrise, sunset, max temperature, pressure, humidity, and all those details for different days. This is how you can get the forecast weather data from latitude and longitude. In this API, there is a feature to get the graphs of humidity, pressure, and more showing how they have changed in the past few days. These graphs come as a URL which you can use to download the image. We will see how to do that. There is an endpoint called getPastWeatherGraph. We have to use that endpoint and pass the field ID and the timestamp for which we want to get this past weather graph. I will be using a dummy field ID here. We will click on the Send button and see what we get in response. As you can see, we have got a URL. This URL will give you the graph, which will look somewhat like this. These are the kinds of graphs you will receive when you get this image. That concludes our tutorial on integrating weather data using the Farmonaut API. We've covered how to retrieve present, historical, and forecast weather data, both by field ID and specific coordinates. We've also seen how to generate and retrieve weather trend graphs. With this knowledge, you can now effectively utilize these endpoints to integrate rich weather data into your applications. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. See you in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.